Hello, my friends. This is The Art of Prepping. So over the past few weeks, I've received a few questions about headlamps for emergency kits. So this is my take on the ideal emergency preparedness headlamp. First, I would use common replaceable batteries and be aware of the size and the weight of these batteries. I would personally probably gravitate more toward AA and AAA batteries. And of course, within those size formats, you can pick your chemistry. I would not pick headlamps that have built-in proprietary battery systems that you can't switch out in an emergency. Now, for advanced users, you may want to consider CR123s or 18650s, but that's only really if you have other types of gear that are using those types of batteries. But I think that for the average person, AA and AAA batteries is the way to go. I would also pay attention to the overall build quality, pay attention to the design. Is it user-friendly? Does it use quality buttons? Does it have good body materials? The battery compartment. I think that's something that's very much overlooked. Is the battery compartment secured when you have the batteries in and the compartment is supposedly, sealed? I would next look at the water and impact rating. I think it needs to have at least a basic water resistance, rating, at least IPX4, but it would be a lot better to have more than that, as well as a drop testing rating. I think at a minimum, a 1 meter drop test rating is going to be something that you'd want. And of course, the more, the better. I think that we need to pay attention to the bulk of our lights. I see a lot of lights out there on the market that look all souped up, but they're sticking out several inches, and they're really wide. And then of course you have the weight. If we're talking more than 4 or 5, ounces, then you have to consider, is that going to be something that you would want on your head for hours at a time? And so just try to minimize the bulk and the weight. And just be aware that the light needs to be comfortable on some level. You can't just wear something on your head for hours or days and not be at least somewhat user-friendly. So the strap on the headlamp needs to be robust and of quality, and it needs to be at least relatively comfortable. Next is to have at least decent run times. A respectable runtime, especially on lower modes. And I personally like to have lights that have some of the lower output ranges available and have at least a mid-range output and a high output. And I think that you might want to consider at least having a different color light as well as an option. Maybe have it so that if your white light isn't appropriate for the situation, you can switch over to a green or a red light. Those two are pretty usable out in the field. So that might be desirable. And you may also want to kind of look for a light that has some type of blinking mode just to get attention. So a blinking or a strobe or maybe a beacon mode. There's different types out there. Now, lastly, I just want to point out that just the overall fit and finish is really important. To do some research on the light. Does it have a good track record? And of course, warranty. Now, the warranty isn't going to really help you in an emergency, but it's good to know, though, that the company will back up the product. And so these are just some thoughts on the ideal emergency preparedness headlamp. If you have further thoughts, please leave it in the comments section. Thanks for your support. Catch you later.